where there's traditional rules and regulations, I want to relate it to classical music. When it comes to YouTube, it's jazz, because everything goes. Andy Warhol, I believe, was one of the first guys to make, I think it was an 8-hour-long movie of some building in America. And that's what people are now doing on YouTube, and they're getting 1 million views. So atmospherical recording stuff, you can go and Google them and you'll find 10 hours of a locked-off camera with birds chirping. And that's getting 1.5 million views. So there's no editing. If you look at Nico's stuff, it's also just one shot. So there's also no editing. So the angle that I thought I would do is I would talk about if you do editing, and even if you do that, it's kind of the directing angle on editing. So what do I mean about that, or from that? I like to refer, and you guys can Google it. If you're lucky, you might find a free copy of it, The 5 C's of Cinematography, which is absolutely the Bible of filmmaking. And will give you all the ideas. Now, the 5 C's refer to 5 basic things, which is still relevant today and very relevant, I think, for YouTubers and people who want to shoot. So the first C is camera angles. I'll just run through them briefly. So the next one is continuity. In other words, if you're cutting from one thing to another, have things in the same place unless you don't want them in the same place, which is, again, YouTube. And the next thing is cutting. So that'll refer to editing. Then there's close-ups, which you might go, but if you look at many YouTube videos, you'll find that people have got a locked-off camera and they're sitting there. Now, think for yourself, if someone wants to show you something, what's the first thing you do? Is you lean in closer. It's almost a natural thing. If you don't satisfy a need within your editing technique, you make people aware that there's something amiss. They don't know why, but they feel uncomfortable. So it's about angles, changing angles, going far, going close, and swapping between those things. So look at any movie that you find really pleasing. It doesn't really matter. And go and look at how the people edited and the angles and the close-ups and those things. And then the last thing is composition. So even if someone's doing a locked-off shot, be aware of your composition. You'll see it very often when people have got a camera and in the back there's crap happening. They don't take a little bit of care on locking off their shot properly. On my own channel, my very first video that I made, I think it's 5 minutes or something. It's entitled Edzardt Now Vlogging. I'm talking about these things as well, but in a fun way. I see you smiling. I like doing that one. I'm going to go back to those videos. So just to talk about the camera angles. The camera angles determines the audience viewpoint. So you are telling this person what they see. So you're basically taking someone's head and you're going, look there. So be aware of what you're showing someone. Now, it's also not just eye level. It's about a lower angle and a higher angle. Now, these things are so logical that it's actually, why didn't they think about that? But if you're putting your camera down on the desk and you're talking to the audience, and it's a natural thing to happening, the guy who's looking at you is looking up at you. So you guys are looking up at me. Now, I'm the authority figure now, right? Okay, so I'm just putting the camera, that's why I've got my little tripod here, but I don't have to use it. You're just putting it down there, but in the meantime, because you're just doing something, but in the meantime, you're talking down to your audience. You didn't even know that. While if you're putting it up, and it's just have to be slightly above the eye line, then, you're giving that guy the power position. It's stupid little things. Other little things like, if you're turning your head slightly and talking to a camera, it's a much more pleasing look than looking straight on in the camera. Just turn. It's little things like that. Now I said, yes, it's editing, but it's the directing for editing. I don't believe, and I had it many times where a producers or directors came in and they said, just fix it as an editor. You cannot fix stuff in the edit suite. It's impossible. But if you shoot to edit, you direct to edit, then you've got a winning product already. You can cut, and it just kind of works. So my little red book, that's why I've got it here. This is your first edit tool before you even start shooting. This is your planning tool. It starts from your idea to your concept to kind of, what you have in mind to how am I going to shoot it, where am I going to shoot it, what time of day. all those kind of things. So camera angles. Very important to think about your camera angles. Just be aware of those, even if it's one of these or whatever camera you're using. The popular vlogging style is to have on a tripod your camera over there, that type of look. Be aware that if you're too close, you're going to have a fat nose for the ladies. If you're too far, be aware of those kind of things. Be aware of your lighting. Little button light, 99 rands for 3.
No.
So, I mean,
Wait.
this is, I got mine at 4 ways.
Okay. Wait. How do I put, let's say
It is a throwaway button light.
Actually saw them at Crazy
It's got
Store.
16 hours lifetime. Once you're done, you chuck it away. So you can literally take one of those. It's got a sticker on the back. You stick it on your camera, and there you go. It's not a cool. It's a hard light, but it's creative. So
it's insane. I want one.
I mean, 3 of them in a pack, 99 rands. So if you're lighting yourself wrong and you're talking to your audience, you can be potentially very scary. If you do a nice little hair light, like I said, sorry, it's editing, but it's also directing. There's a pleasant glow around my bald spot. If it's a side light, then you're getting a certain effect. If you're doing it right, then you've got a nice glint going in the eye. Those kind of things.
I'm shooting on my phone. Can I use that?
Yes, must.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
So if you put one in the background, then I'm not going to go into those, but if you've got your settings and your lens right, and you've got your f-stop right, so you've got like a nice blurred background going, and you've got like a light sitting at the back there. It's not as
That's okay.
So there's a light in the background. You're looking at, and there's something pleasing happening in your dark, otherwise room. So like I said, it's editing, but it's directing for editing. So be aware of lights. It's a simple thing. It's $30, but these things pertain. The next is continuity. Now, continuity, usually if stuff changes, it shows there's a passing in time or something went wrong. So let's say you want to do something where you are showing the pass of time, but you're shooting it all in the morning. You can cheat it by just changing your t-shirt and moving something around. If you're doing something and you're doing a shoot or a shot and you moved stuff around inadvertently, something is going to disturb the viewer even if he doesn't know what's happening. You can use it intentionally, or you can use it, to show stuff to say. If you're a blogger, vlogger type of person, black t-shirt. Always wear your black t-shirt. Even if you're shooting on different days, it's kind of like your continuity keeps going. Otherwise, how are you going to fix that in editing? In Final Cut or in some software, I think DaVinci can do it as well. You can actually change the color of your t-shirt. You just highlight it and you go, but those goes into effect. So continuity is also something important. I went off to Transkei for 2 weeks and I grew my little beard there. So in the process of me filming, I'm growing a beard. It's a passing of time thing. Now the ladies will find that difficult to do, but just as an example, keep it in mind when you are shooting to edit. So there's those kind of things. I hope this works for you. It's not really editing, but it's kind of,
We love it.
Then cutting, that's obviously editing. If you watch, especially the younger guys, it doesn't matter if your computer or whatever program you have has got 6,000 transitions. Don't use them all. Please don't.
Oh, but
You
that
know?
shatter mark is so cool.
All the effects have normally got something associated with it. So a dissolve would usually mean a passing of time or a something. A straight cut would usually be a cut. So speaking of cutting, keep in mind to cut on movement. It's just a general rule of thumb. In other words, cut when someone is moving or when they are entering a frame or exiting a frame. So there's those kinds of basic, now I'm actually talking about editing. Transitions, like I said, wipes. If you look at old style movies like the Charlie Chaplins and those kind of things, they love the wipes. Across the screens from bottom to, or close and open and those kind of things. You don't see them too much today, but create your own style. You can also mimic with wipes certain things in your video. A very popular one is, and there's a wipe that happens, and then it goes up again, or some things like that. But be very careful when you use these fancy starry wipes and those kind of things. And please, if you do use them, just stick with one or two. Don't, ooh, I got this one, I got that one with a white edge, okay? So that's basically the visual transitions. Some people use titles if you're feeling that you can do stuff like compositing type of effects. By all means, they have their place. They can also act as transitions. So if you've got a title that goes large into the screen, it's white. You might feel that while you're shooting, you are shooting and zooming into a wave in the sea, so it's all white, and then it comes out white onto a title. So you can use those. So think when you shoot for editing, that those are very good to know. The magic of film is that one can shoot a variety of scenes to tell a story. When a filmmaker, sorry, I'm reading off my screen, when a filmmaker strings together a series of images from buildings to people to anything that can be captured through a lens, it is the act of cutting. So the organization and sequence of those scenes that become instrumental in evoking a particular effect on a viewer. The way that you cut also will set the scene in a movie or in whatever you're doing. So let's say I'm doing a road trip. So I'm setting the scene, it's a fast pace, whatever, so I cut quick stuff, like a shot of a robot and a guy walking over the street, and my hands on the steering wheel, hopefully in one hand because we're filming with the other one. So that'll someone make them go, ooh, okay, so there's quick flickers in their face. In YouTube, you see it quite often what they call the jump cut. So that's when the guy's in front of the screen like this, and then the next moment he's moved. The jump cut. In television, that was a no-no. On YouTube, it actually makes someone go, what happened? You want to keep someone's attention. So through cutting and setting the pace with cutting, you can actually keep and hold and set a mood. If you have long shots that you go, those can work well to set the scene for a very atmospherical type of thing. Keep in mind though as well, with YouTube, people pick what they want to watch. So if you keep that shot too long, he's not going to fiddle in his popcorn box and hold the girlfriend's hand because he's not in the cinema. He's going to change the channel. So there's those things as well. It's a very tricky crowd. If you want to go and see more the kind of style of stuff that I like, which is very nice, relaxed storytelling type of thing, go look for a guy called Morten Hilmer. He's a photographer. He lives somewhere in the northern hemisphere where it's very cold and whatever. He does travel, camping, bushcraft, peaceful type of stuff. Morten Hilmer, yeah. So there's a bunch. So I think I'm taking up way too much time. Then close-ups. I really, like I said, like to show people what I'm talking about, or even going close to my face. It's like moving into someone to say, so people look. Immediately your reaction was to, so don't just have a lock shot, please. Really, it's like,
I'll get there, okay?
not directed
by AI.
Change your angles, change your, show people stuff. Don't be lazy with the camera, it comes over as well. Remember, and this is one thing which I actually want to round it off with before, well, I'll round it off with, I'll make this statement, not as an end statement. What I've found and what you will see is YouTube is content. The content trumps quality. The viral videos have been shot with cell phones and it's not good quality and whatever, and they get millions of views. So if you're a presenter, someone on YouTube, whatever, that shoots in, what was that very bad quality we had? The worst. And you are very good, people will watch it. So it doesn't matter about it. The content is absolutely king. It's not about the quality. I mean, if you look at watching news stuff as well, they will use a very badly shot of whatever it was shot with, but there's a hurricane, or the lady, you talked about it last time, drives into a friggin' rugby pole, and it is. The close-ups that I'm talking of and the angles are very closely related to me. For me, personally, it's again personal opinion, it works to change angles. If you're talking to someone, when you talk A little bit of planning, change your move your cell phone, and then continue talking, and then move it and continue so that it becomes interesting. It takes a little bit of practice to go, but so a little bit of practice. Then the last thing is composition. That I started about that earlier. Where are you? So are you standing on the left of the frame? Are you on the right of the frame? Are you in the middle of the frame? What's behind you? What's around you? It also encompasses lighting. You can set the mood with composition as well. Is it dark on the one side, light where you are standing? Are you standing under a street light that's nothing behind you? Those kind of things. So composition is also very important for me. Again, talking classical, YouTube's jazz. Composition, just be aware of your surroundings. You'll see it often that people are just, boom, they're there and they don't really know what's going on.
A naked girl in the back.
A naked girl in the back, or something weird standing on the desk, a bong or something, and they're talking about their church experience or whatever. So be aware of your composition.
Do you need a green screen to add like a backdrop?
You can do that. The green screen, it can work. It can work unless it's very well done, I find them comical. Unless you incorporate it to be comical. Also, composition is not necessarily where you're standing in a frame. For the ladies especially, or if you want to wear a bright color and surround yourself with dull things. So that you jump out. It's also composition, so it comes with color. So contrasts or whatever, have a white background and you're sitting there in a yellow whatever. So as long as what I've done with this to round off is giving you a little bit of ideas on what you can do. But for goodness sake, don't just have the camera and go, wow.
Very helpful.
So this is not, like I said, not necessarily editing, but I think because of the way that YouTube is done, and not necessarily stuff are not necessarily edited, edit in camera. In other words, shoot to edit. Direct your stuff. Directors are editors, and the best directors are very good editors, and vice versa. So that's my feeling. I hope this was helpful to you guys.
Beautiful. Thank you.